Indonesian workers, media, employers, and the governments are very much interested in the minimum wage. How to set minimum wage? What is the right formula? But did you know that most of Indonesian people are not even eligible for minimum wage, even though they work for the company? I will explain about it. Hello everyone, my name is Ippei Tsuruga, International Labour Organization. Thank you very much for watching. Minimum wage in Indonesia, as you may know, every year the provincial minimum wage is revised according to the formula determined by the government workers and employers representatives according to the law and the regulation. According to the latest provincial minimum wage, Jakarta had the highest minimum wage at 5.3 million rupiah per month, and in other regions have between 2 and 4 million rupiah per month, depending on the region. And an average minimum wage across the country is around 3.3 million rupiah. This is the range of minimum wage. But did you know that this minimum wage setting is only applicable for middle and large enterprises? Most people are not talking about this eligibility criteria for minimum wage. And everyone in the world, of course, think about minimum wage should be applied to everyone. That's why it's called minimum wage. However, the government of Indonesia decided in 2021, according to the government regulation number 36, 2021, this minimum wage settings is only applicable for middle and large enterprises. Officially, legally, Mikro and small enterprises are not required to follow this minimum wage. So, what is the real minimum wage for micro and small enterprises? According to this regulation, they can legally set a lower minimum wage than the provincial minimum wage. Their minimum wage must be negotiated between workers and employers and must be determined in employment contract. The minimum wage for employees in small and micro enterprises must be higher than 50% of provincial average consumption. Here's a question. How can you live with 50% of consumption every month? You work for full time, but you can only cover the 50% of what you need to consume. So to be honest, I have no idea what it means. How can you live with 50% consumption amount if you get a full-time job and you get only 50% of your consumption amount? You cannot even buy daily basic needs probably. I have no idea why these minimum wage settings allow this formula here. Secondly, the minimum wage for micro and small enterprises should be above 1.25 times higher than the poverty line. I calculated that using the national poverty line. That is 761,000 rupiah. This is the minimum wage for micro and small enterprises. What does it mean by minimum wage? If micro and small enterprise employers are exempted from paying the national provincial minimum wage, but they are allowed to pay the minimum wage around 760,000 rupiah per month. That is extremely low, and such discussion doesn't take place in policy dialogues as long as I know. Workers, employers, and the government are very much silent about this exemption of minimum wage for majority of workers in this country. Most penerima upah in these countries are working for small and micro enterprises. However, they are not eligible for receiving provincial minimum wage. while most of people, including media, are discussing the minimum wage setting for these scales, but however, this minimum wage we are discussing every day are only applicable for medium and large enterprises. We are not discussing the relevance of exemption of minimum wage for the majority of employees in this country. 760,000 rupiah per month if you work full-time for the company. Is it fair? Is it okay or not? Social Security benefits are calculated based on the wage that people receive. So if we talk about at least 30%, 40% of your wage should be paid by BPJS, BPJS will use this amount as a reference earnings to pay you benefits. It doesn't make sense if the minimum wage setting is wrong. Please think about it.